Hello, good brothers. Welcome back again for another great episode of Black Men's Digest TV with your host, James Smith. Today's topic we're going to talk about is a healthy segment. It's called Diabetes is Not a Death Sentence. Now, diabetes is running rampant in the black community, and we're going to talk to our guest today, which is Derrick Banes, who has been diagnosed with diabetes, but he's going to talk to us about he's been able to manage it, but also still be able to do the things that he enjoys and focuses on his future. So, after today's short messages, we'll be back with Derrick Banes to talk about diabetes, it's not a death sentence. Alright, hello brothers, welcome back. We're here to talk about, as I mentioned, about diabetes and it's not a death sentence, being unstoppable. You know, most people find any excuse to stop what they're trying to do. So today we're here to talk with Derrick Banes, who is the president and CEO of iBrand Consulting, to talk about how his life has changed since he's been diagnosed with diabetes, but how he's been able to manage it and still continue to be successful. How you doing there, Derrick?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. Good to see you again.
You too, brother. You too. So tell the brothers kind of a little bit about yourself, your background.
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, I'm Derrick Banes. I am the founder and creator of iBrand Consulting. I'm a marketing consultant. I'm kind of like a go-to person when it comes to anything in the realm of marketing and branding, especially here in the South and in Houston. I'm also the founder of 24hourprinter.com, and I wrote a book called 5 Marketing Mistakes That Are Costing You Clients and Cash. And one thing I truly speak out about is my experience as being a diabetic once I was diagnosed, so that way I can try to share my experience, my story, and try to help out anybody I can when it comes to just how to identify it, how to recognize some symptoms, and then everyday life with it.
Got you. So, did you know that you had diabetes when you were growing up, or when did you find out that you were diabetic?
No, actually, it's funny. I had no clue. My mom used to joke with me about, some of the foods I would eat and sweets and stuff. And she would tell me, it's going to affect you one day in the long run. I just never listened. But I didn't find out until 2009. I was actually diagnosed from having, at this point, I was having several symptoms that were pretty major. So I had to be rushed to the hospital, and that's when I found out, okay, I was actually diabetic, and that's why I was having all these problems.
Wow. So what are some of the symptoms that you had that you kind of overlooked that you didn't know you were having?
Great question. One of the first being the level of thirst increased. When I say through the roof, I mean dramatically. I was drinking I would be drinking a gallon of water, Kool-Aid, it didn't matter anything. I was just extremely thirsty. And as soon as I would drink something, I would have to rush to the bathroom. I had to go to the restroom I couldn't go longer than 2 hours without having to use the restroom. And then immediately after I used the restroom, I would be super thirsty again. And so that was one thing it was odd. At the same time, I started having extreme heartburn. Which was rare. I never had any experience like that. So started having this heartburn, started having to go to the restroom. There was a lot of pressure in the back of my neck. I would just be sitting working, for hours and stuff, trying to go. And all of a sudden I started experiencing intense headaches and just almost to the point of blacking out. There was one time I did actually black out. And so I was like, okay, my wife actually recommended it's time to go see a doctor because obviously something's wrong.
Got you. Now,
that's how I found out.
Had you been pretty healthy as far as going to the doctor and everything prior to you getting these symptoms?
Honestly, no, not regularly. I'll just do my annual physical or something like that. But I was in the gym, lifting weights, just a normal, regular lifestyle. Just as I had been all throughout college, staying up real late, partying still, stuff like that. And I just noticed, there was some points
Right. I know there's a lot of talk about how black men hate going to the doctor. And this is one of the examples why going to the doctor is important, because you can catch things ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Is diabetes in your family? Do you have any other family members?
Yeah, actually, it's definitely in my family on both sides. More so on my dad's side. My grandmother actually passed from diabetes complications when she was amputated. And at that state, they didn't have as much medical research and information as they do now. My father's also pre-diabetic. My aunt is diabetic. So as far as the family line, yeah. But these are also things that, we didn't really take too seriously or really know what to do from there when someone diagnoses you. So I decided to take my diagnosis and take it a step further, educate myself about it, and then so that way I can then educate my family about it, and we can make some changes that are necessary so it doesn't continue to be passed on from generation to generation. We can take care of it early, recognize symptoms early, and go ahead and nip it in the bud.
Gotcha. And that actually leads me to my next question, was that, when you got diagnosed, when you heard that from the doctor, you are diabetic, what went through your mind?
Oh man, I was like, yo, doc, I didn't really believe it. It was kind of like surreal. But actually, what was funny though is I remember I was relieved because everything I was going through and everything I was describing, he was then able to tell me exactly why. So as I'm saying, okay, I'm going through this. Hey, this also happened. Then he started telling me, okay, here's exactly why this is happening. And so when I started finding out the why, I was like, oh, okay, that's good that I have a diagnosis now, because if we find out what's going on and why, well, then now we know how to treat it and possibly prevent other things from further happening. So yeah, in my mind, I was kind of relieved. My wife, she was crying. She was, oh, I can't believe you're gonna have to take shots and all this medicine. But for me, I was like, oh, it was a sense of comfort. It was like, finally, I knew what's going on with me, because I had no idea. I'm like, why am I going through all this thing? So I knew what was going on, so I was excited about that.
Gotcha. So I know that there are different levels to, as far as being a diabetic. So what level are you as it relates to your diagnosis?
I mean, I'm a type 2. I wear my badge every day, just in case anything does happen and I pass out. But basically, it's two types, type 1 and type 2. Gestational stuff like that. But common is type 1 and type 2, which really the only difference is adult onset, or more so you were born, or it happened early on, or they caught it early on when you were a juvenile. The only other factor to that is whether you're insulin or whether you do not require insulin as a diabetic. I was in an extreme situation to where I immediately had to get on insulin. My body was producing insulin, but not enough. So I do take insulin, but not necessarily insulin dependent, but I am a type 2 diabetic.
Gotcha. Okay. So, brothers, we've been talking with Derrick Banes about his diagnosis and his, as far as his relationship with his diabetic diagnosis and how he's been, managing through it. So, after these short messages, we'll be right back and talk about how he's been able to continue to move forward and not let this diagnosis stop him from continuing to be the person that he is. We'll be right back. And we're back. So we've been talking with Derrick Banes about his diagnosis with diabetes and how he's still unstoppable as far as still being able to carry on his life as regularly and still being able to be successful in his business. So Derrick, when you were, after you were diagnosed, what changes did you make in your lifestyle in order for you to continue to be healthy?
It was an immediate lifestyle change. I mean, instantly. I'm going from eating whatever I wanted to eat, doing whatever I wanted to do, staying up. It's like 24-hour binges I'll be doing. To taking 6 pills a day, taking shots 3 times a day, and going to 2 different type of shots a day. So the medication process was extreme. It's something I wasn't used to, so I immediately just had to adjust because if I continued on the same path, my life cycle shrunk. You know, um, so in order to get better, just had to make that adjustment, get in my head mentally, and change my eating habits. Stop staying up as late. I still stay up late, but I couldn't. I didn't have the same type of endurance as I did. If I'm trying to stay up late, I wasn't getting anything done because I wasn't productive. I was sleepy. I was fatigued. So the main thing was eating and then getting up and exercising every single day. I remember every day I would get up, I would just walk on the treadmill, start running on the treadmill in order to increase my cardio and help for that endurance to be able to, because your body has to be healthy in order for the medicine to start working too, as well with your eating habits. So I'm rambling, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, that was the main thing. That was just changing my eating habits and then medication, heavily medicated until you get better and you can start scaling back a little bit on the doses and the amounts of time you take your medicine. But it was tough. It was definitely tough in the beginning.
Gotcha.
I think you asked how did it, what you asked about the business, how it affected me?
Right. Yeah. How did your business become affected with you, being diagnosed and then having to take the medication and things like that?
I think it helped me, truthfully, in business. And the reason I say that is because at that point I became more focused. It wasn't just, okay, we're going to do whatever. Now I had to go off of designated time frames because I knew depending on when I ate and when I medicated, it was going to affect my body in the sense of, am I going to get sleepy? When's my burst of energy? Like trying to figure out when are my peak times, when are the times I need to rest. Because what I found, if I tried to go and answer calls and try to deal with clients, well, then I would burn myself out and I would end up just falling asleep or just being so tired. My focus was off, so then I couldn't deliver presentations the way I need to, and I couldn't just deliver the level of service of business I need to. So in that sense, it made me structure my day a lot better. So I say it motivated me, And I was like, okay, well, if we're going to do this, I need to do long term. So, or in case the alter happens and my lifespan actually shrinks, I need something to leave behind for my kids to take over my business. So then it really got me motivated to push business more.
Gotcha. So if you had a young brother that came up to you and said, I've just been diagnosed with diabetes, what would you tell that young man?
Good question. If someone just told me they were diagnosed, I'll first tell them, I'll first ask them, what do they think about it? How does it make them feel? And try to get into their mind frame, because you're either going to be sad or you're going to be motivated. If I figure that person is sad, then it's just a matter of helping them do the research to really find out and understand, do you know what diabetes is? Do you know how to take care of it? And do you know how to expand your lifestyle or your lifespan with living with diabetes? Because it's not a disease where you're just gonna croak over and die. It's something that's treatable, it's something that's manageable, and it's something that you still can live in and live a fun, healthy lifestyle with. So I just want to encourage them and say, hey, it's okay, it's cool. A lot of people have diabetes, but now let's do the educational part to find out, one, why you have it, and then how do you live with it.
Great. So as Derrick said, just because you have a medical diagnosis doesn't stop you from living and still having a fruitful life. You just have to educate yourself, know what it is that you need to do, and take the initiative to make that happen. Be motivated to want to live longer. It's not a death sentence. Like Derrick said, you're not going to just keel over and die. But you have to know that there's something to live for. And take advantage of that and go to the doctor. Get your annual checkups. Maybe go biannually. Because, prevention, is better than the cure. So once you find out how your body is, then you can better manage what's going on in your life so that you can still be around here to be with your family. So I want to thank Derrick again for his time and his insight and his wisdom. You know, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me, you can go to www.24hourprinter.com. You can also find me, you can follow me on Instagram at Derrick Banes. Also, you can go to Amazon and just type in Derrick Banes, and you'll pull up my book, 5 Marketing Mistakes That Are Costing Me Clients and Cash. So definitely visible, definitely accessible, easily accessible.
All right, great, great. So thanks again, Derrick. We appreciate your time. So after these messages, we'll be back with more information. Thank you for watching Black Men's Digest, and we'll be back in a moment.